to graphs. And this is an artificial example which the finance organization makes available to the business units, in particular to the head of the business units who usually have an engineering degree. We don't expect engineers to understand the delicacies of IFRS or US GAAP or German GAAP for this matter. In the same way, nobody should expect from me that I understand the working of a turbine. But the important thing here is that the head of the business unit, with one glance, can see whether he is above or below target. And for the CEO, the most important column is on the right-hand side, because it shows him whether the company in total is in problem or not. We do the same thing for sales and, of course, for profit and loss. So in this case, company management has to come up with some stern action, because the company overall, in this example, would have been in a loss. In the 7 years I've been in Pakistan, it only happened in 1 quarter and not to this level. But as we said already in the beginning, in Siemens we are very much focused on cash earnings. Our CEO, Mr. Kaiser, says that from his point of view, reported earnings that are not backed up by cash earnings are meaningless. So what we also do is that we look into the performance of profit and loss and cash at the same time. And the more important parameter for us is that the cash should be in line with the profitability. And as I said earlier, we run this also through the incentive scheme. If a gap is there, it has an impact on the payment. So, following the 2 advices, here we have one final slide on accounts receivable. Again, the moment your accounts receivable, your overdues, are in excess of 17%, you can expect another delay of your incentive payment. The book-to-bill ratio tells us whether the business unit is on a way out, because a figure below 1 means that you are not attracting enough customers to sustain. And here we have something which is the stock finance chart, which basically tells us how much of our inventories are financed either by customers or by suppliers. And the red zone starts after 6 weeks. We always question when you have inventories in your stores that last for more than 6 weeks. And we are, by the way, predominantly in the project business. So, with this approach, this is the performance of Siemens Pakistan. So we are very happy with the concept that we have introduced. I would like to comment on 2 things that were also said earlier. One was about the quality of the people trained by ICAP. It's probably not very much known, but Siemens AG now manages its shareholding in the Middle East by a person that was trained by ICAP. There was also a lot of talk on real-time accounting. I'm happy with monthly accounting, because if I come to the conclusion that I have gained too much weight, it's a bit pointless to go on the scales every day. I have to go on the treadmill every day. So from my point of view, if a problem is detected, and in our type of business I think monthly is enough, the important thing is follow up and make sure that actions are taken by putting between the current situation and the targets enough milestones to see whether you are making progress. Not by looking at the same disaster every day. Last but not least, we had the session how a CFO can become a CEO. Siemens Pakistan is a multinational company, and I personally think that with the business Siemens is in, the CEO should be from the country in which the company is. So, in our case, the CEO should be a Pakistani. He should have deep roots in the Pakistan business society. And a person like me who goes from one country to the other country in a fairly short interval is not fit to be a CEO of Siemens here in Pakistan. So probably I have to content myself to be a rising CFO when I get out of bed in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. While the CEO should be the leader, we also have a great leader in your form, who leads Siemens through everything that you've explained to us, and we've obviously followed the organization for a very long time. So that's the leadership, and the vision has to be amongst all leaders within the organization. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Ahmed Saeed, who is a council member at ICAP, to give the closing address. And just a reminder to all of you, please fill in your feedback form so you can drop them on your way out. Please do not. Those of you who are leaving, if I could request you to sit back down, we'll be another 5 minutes before you wrap up.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude this conference, it is important to recognize all those who participated and contributed in making this event a success. The expert advice for a word of thanks is that it should not be more than 2 minutes long. I intend to follow this advice to the hilt. However, I would like to assure you that what this vote lacks in longevity is more than made up in its sincerity, for each word comes out from the core of my heart. First, I would like to thank our keynote speakers, Dr. Ishrat Hussain and Mr. A.N. Raman, who have given us a lot to ponder and think about. May I also thank all our distinguished speakers and panelists for so generously sharing the wealth of knowledge with us. Thanks are also due to our President for gracing this occasion and enlightening us with his thoughts. Without sponsorships, events like this are just not possible. We're grateful to our lead sponsors, SAP and Allied Bank